Hello and welcome back. I'm DMAC, and in today's video I thought I would start a pick making build series. I've been making picks for probably a couple of years, but only seriously for about a year. And I think when I started, there was a really good video series by Daz Evers. In fact, I'm going to link it up there, called Here's My Carter Pick Build series, which was awesome and had loads of information on making your own picks, and that really helped me to get started. And I thought I would do the same, just show my techniques, my tools, and what I've found works. There are various ways to do it, but these are ways that have worked for me. So when we look at custom picks, these are full custom picks. It just means that they've been made from scratch. So we've started with a sheet of metal and a stick of wood, or a sheet of acrylic in that case, and made it from scratch, shaped it all ourselves, and put it all together. Anyway, so there's various different types. So this is a full tang. So the steel runs from the tip to the tail all the way through, and this one's got acrylic scales, no pins on this one. This one here is a partial tang, so only the steel only runs halfway down the handle. It's also pinned. And this one's got wooden scales on it, and that's the type of pick that I'd like to sort of show you how to make today. So the way to get started, I think, is to choose some wood first of all. So what I tend to do is buy these wooden pen blanks, they're called, off of eBay. So if you search for pen blanks, wooden pen blanks, these will come up. Various sellers sell them, and you can get, like, I don't know, sort of 10 different types for around sort of £10–15. And if you're careful, you can get a couple of picks out of these. But yeah, they're really, really good, and it gives you a variety of woods to play about with. So I think today I'm going to use cherry wood for our pick. And I'm going to use some of this, which is Lawlock Tools steel. So Andy at Lawlock Tools sells these. These are the offcuts. So these have actually been laser cut from a sheet. And he makes his commercial picks, and these are all the offcuts, but they're absolutely perfect for us to make custom picks from. As you can see there, I've got a slot cut in this one, and that will be our partial tangs. That will sit something like that. Now I've already cut this one ready. I did have a lot of problems with these when I first started making partial tang picks. I used a Japanese pull saw like this to make the cuts, but they did tend, I've got some here, the cuts just do tend to sort of wobble about as you make them, and I'd end up sort of going through a couple of pen blanks before I got a decent cut. So what I decided to do was to make this, which is a little jig, and what you do is you take your pen blank and you clamp him in there. And these bits of angle on the front just act as a guide, so that our saw goes through there, and there you go. You just cut that nice slot, and it's nice and straight every time, or every time so far. So what I tend to do, actually, you can see that one there, is I cut a few ready. Some there. Yeah, I grab a few pen blanks and I just cut some partial tang slots in them, so that I'm just ready to make picks from them at any given time, like now. So anyway, that's our pen blank. We've got our steel there. The next thing to decide is what shape we're gonna use. So what I like to do is I draw up my pick shapes like this. Some of these have been done on the computer. These ones have been done on the computer. These ones have just been done by hand. I scan them into the computer, size them all up, make sure I'm happy with them, and then I just print out a sheet like this. I think that one there is actually, yeah, started from that one, and this spearmint acrylic one I think was there. But we're going to make this one today. That's the shape we're going to do. I did make one of these previously, and I traded it actually, and it was a really nice pick, really, really comfortable, really balanced. So I think I'm going to use that one. The tip on this one, I'll probably do a short hook. I really need a short hook. And this steel that we're going to use as well is 19 thousandths, so it's nice and thin. Should get me into a lot of locks. So the first thing we've got to do is to transfer this onto there. As you can see, we've got a bit of excess here. That little dotted line is kind of where the steel ends. So our steel is going to sit in our pick about there, and Then we've got our partial tang there. We'll cut a little bit off of there, and we've got to cut a bit off the back here. So what we need to do is to transfer that shape onto this wood. Now the way I like to do that is with a bit of masking tape. Hopefully this should work. It will stick to the paper and probably tear it all up a little bit, but this one here I think is worth mentioning. That bottom line of the tip there goes all the way to the tail. Oh, it's almost level. I thought it was level. It's not actually level, but I can use the edge of the masking tape just to line up with a steel there, just at this point, and hopefully that'll allow us to trace it. Okay, let's zoom you in a bit. This doesn't have to be perfectly accurate at this stage, because we're going to sand this and saw it and shape it in all sorts of ways. So this is just to give us a rough shape, really. There we go. And hopefully it won't take up too much of the paper, but it looks like it is. That's all right. To tore up a bit of the paper, but like I say, these, zoom you back out, these printed off from the computer, so I've got this on record. I just print it out again if it gets torn. Right, so there we go. We've got our partial tang is going to sit there. So our pick shape, we're going to trim this off here as well, so that would be the front of the pick as we look at it there. And it's obviously going to be thinned down quite a lot. So if I put this on around about there, go, and then I'm just going to use a scalpel to cut around this and give us our shape. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect at this stage. There we go, we've got our pick shape transferred on, and once we've got some steel in there, yeah, that's going to be our pick there, with our pick tip coming up here somewhere. Alright, so if I draw around this, tell you what I'm going to do is just roughly do that. And then when I peel away the masking tape, I should have a nice shape on there to follow. A bit more down the back. There we go. So we've got the rough shape of our pick there. I'm just going to put another outline around this, and then we're going to go over and saw some of the excess off of this and start shaping it. So I'm over at the vise now. That's our shape there, roughly cut. That's our partial tang cut. What I'm going to do now is just remove about sort of 5mm. We don't need all of this here, it's going to be a lot thinner than this. And also we can save this for a sort of a scale or something on another pick. So if I clamp them in the vise, not too tight. Should be able to just cut straight along there. So we've got a very rough shape cut out there, so I'm going to take the rest off with a bench sander. This is 80 grit on here, and as with any sort of woodwork, I've got my respirator, I've got my ear defenders. You might want to turn down the volume for this bit. Right, so we're getting a bit closer now. As you can see, we've got a nice shape on there, a little bit of burning. I like to take more off on the bench grinder, on the belt sander than I do with the saw. I just feel a bit more precise with a bench sander, and I can get those nice curves that I want. So we've got pretty much there with the shape now, but I just need to soften all of these edges, and I want to completely round this section here. And the way I'm going to do that is with some sandpaper. So I'm just going to fix him in the vise with a little bit of leather around about there. And the leather obviously is because I don't want to damage it now. I clamped it in the vise earlier without leather, but I've obviously taken off a lot of that wood. So I've got some 240, I think it's 240 grit this, and I'm just going to tear this into little strips. About sort of 15 mil, something like that, and then just work it back and forth. This was something that I saw on Lockpicking Dev's pick making video, and it works a treat really to get those nice round shapes and get rid of these square edges. So I'm just going to go back and forth the length of the pick. So already there we're starting to lose those sharp edges that we got from the grinder. As you can see there, it's rounding off those corners really nicely. It's a much nicer result than if you just get sandpaper on a block and go back and forth. So I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to do it all along the front here, all along this underside, but I'm going to keep this these sections, I think I'm going to keep them with that angle on quite possibly. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and carry on working this for a little bit longer. And a little bit of sanding later, this is what we've got. So as you can see, we've lost all of those sharp edges that we had from the bench sander, and it's nice and smooth. This section's still flat, this section's still flat. I think I'm going to leave the handle there for the moment. What I like to do is get it mostly finished to this stage. The next stage will be marking and shaping the steel for the blade, and also polishing it all up. And then once we've got that and we've got the pins in place, we can then go ahead and epoxy the whole thing. Once that's done, I can then come back to the handle, because I'm going to mask all of this off prior to epoxying it, and then we can come back to this and do some really fine sanding and just make sure we get rid of everything, like we've got some burn marks down there. But yeah, for a first session, I'm pretty happy with that. It's a bit untidy at the end there, but like I say, that'll all come in the after being epoxied anyway. So yeah, in the next video we'll look at marking this steel up and shaping and polishing, which is yeah, quite a nice section. It looks like a big kind of sword, doesn't it, at the moment? Anyway, thanks a lot for watching today. Tune in to the next video. Once I've made the video, I'll leave a link to it up here, and if you want to subscribe, it's always appreciated. So yeah, thanks for watching today. Stay safe.